this week's Tuesday Blues. Today we're going to talk about a huge pain point for a lot of new country fingerpickers, and that's this long A shape here. And you can probably tell pretty quickly by looking at it why it's called the long A shape here. You've got this pretty wide stretch between your index finger and your pinky finger, which you start out barring across the 2nd fret on the top 4 strings, and you've got your pinky way out here to catch this high A note on the 5th fret of the 1st string. Definitely long, and definitely a hand cramp chord. But I cannot really emphasize the importance of being able to play this long A enough. Just listen to the move between the A major, because we've got this high A up on top, and the A7, because this G note is the flat 7. So we're going from a nice major to a nice A7 sound. It's done in blues constantly. So that makes this shape very important for you to know, to get down and to be able to play each note very cleanly. So if you're having trouble with that, that's who this lesson is for. If you're having trouble getting that long A stretch to work out for you, here's what to do. First of all, grab the tab for this lesson, because there's going to be a picking exercise that goes along with this. But this is less about picking and more about your fret hand. But the basic gist and the concept is to take this shape that maybe is too difficult at the 2nd fret and move it way up the neck, say maybe around the 9th fret and the 12th. And perhaps that's a spot where you can actually play it and get each note to sound clearly. If not, go further. Go find the spot where you can actually play this. Perhaps if you got a cutaway, you could go all the way up to the 14th fret, and play this where you can get a good sound out of each note. The real point is, because as you move up the fretboard, the frets are closer together, so there's less of a stretch here at the 9th and 12th than there is between the 2nd and the 5th. And that distance might be what's holding you back in the A chord. So what I want you to do is find a comfortable spot and then work through being able to move back from the major sound, so in this case E major sound, to the E7 sound. And when you get a good clean sound out of every single one of those notes, back this whole thing up a fret. And don't worry about fancy picking, that's not the point here. What we want to do is just be able to move back and forth between the major sound and the 7th sound. It can be something as simple as that. And then if you've got it at that fret, back up again. Keep backing up until you find the point where you cannot do it. Maybe there's one that just sounds and you don't get that top note. That's probably what's going to happen. Or you struggle to hit the top note so that you pull your bar up from the index finger. When one of those two things happens for the first time, as you move down toward the headstock of the guitar, toward the nut, that's your pain point. Go back up a fret until you can actually play it and practice right there. This is going to be the zone where you pick up a lot of ability to play this long chord position. Once you get really comfortable and practice this a ton in your last comfort zone, then move back down into your pain point, that 1st fret set where you're pulling off to get it done. See if it's any better. With some time and practice, you should be able to focus hard on this pain point, on this exact point where you're doing something wrong, where you're pulling the bar off or you're not quite getting that pinky note solidly. And when you practice 1 fret higher, and then when you come back over time, this should now become your new comfort zone. It's a lot like working out or or lifting weights or something. At some point, picking up the 25-pound dumbbell is just impossible. So go down to the 20, pick it up a whole bunch, and then at some point you struggle less with the 25-pound dumbbell, whatever the weights are, But the point is that it's that slow progress that's really going to get you over time into a better stretch position. So keep going, and once you hit another roadblock, practice through it by going up to your last comfort zone and just obliterating it and working hard there. Say, this is my comfort zone and this is the hard part. It doesn't sound good, so I'll go back up here and practice, work this into the routine a lot, give it a lot of attention, a lot of love. Then at some point this is going to sound better. But then, if you move back again, you might have that same problem. Well, we know the technique to practice through that. Come back up a fret and practice till you get this solid. It's great, and it's better than it ever was before. Then we go down, and maybe this sounds pretty good. You see where I'm going with this. At some point, you're going to get back down into the long A position, which is the critical position that we're going for. So if you get into that, and you can now play the pinky finger note and hold that bar down, then you've really done something. Now, I'm not saying this is going to take a week. This might not take months. I mean, it might take a long time for you, especially if physically your hands are small and it just doesn't want to work out for you. But I've seen folks with small hands really overcome a lot on the guitar. It can be done. There are plenty of folks that have broken that rule, so to speak. So please don't view that as a limitation. View it as a challenge and something to overcome. But using this practice technique to improve your chording might actually get you down into the long A position that's oh so prevalent in acoustic blues. Be sure to go back to the website and pick up the guide for this, because I've got a nice little practice guide along with some tab for you so that you can work on this and even chart your progress. This is something cool to do to figure out where that pain point is. Write it down and then just obliterate it, practice through it. All right, that's it for this lesson. I wish you a ton of luck in working on this all important long A chord. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.